Wait, so reviewing from yesterday, what we're looking at was bar graphs. So we're going to review our bar graphs today and move forward with more bar graphs, including double bar graphs. Okay, so looking at yesterday's work, what we did was we did this right here, the Coke Pepsi challenge. Okay, so we looked at the Coke Pepsi challenge. We did a tally chart, which we made up. Whether we prefer Coke or Pepsi, we did our survey, and then we wrote our frequency. The big thing was, number one, you didn't want to have all your graph in one little corner of the grid. That was bad. You didn't want your graph in the small corner part of the grid. A little bit better, but you want to occupy most of the grid. And the number that we looked at for being a good number was 50% or more of the grid should be taken up with the graph. 50% or more. If it's less than 50%, your graph sucks. Okay? Now, what do we do in order to make sure that we have that? Is you take your maximum value, for us it was 19, and you divide it by the number of squares or lines. So for us it was 22. So we're at 19 divided by 22, and that'll tell us how many people per square would make us a nice grid. And we got something like 0.863. And we always said to you, round up. So you'd round up to 1. That means that our square or our grid represent 1 people per square or line. So each line was 1. Okay. So when you're looking at your horizontal bars, 1, 2, 3, that's what you would write. Now I did say, Gabby, I did say you don't have to write the numbers on each line. Okay, so you could skip every other line. So you could go 1, 2. The 2 line's still there, but you don't have a number on it. Okay. Now, if this was the 2 line, and say my graph bar went up to here, what number would that bar represent if it was in between, in the middle of 2 and 3? 2.5. Okay. Just like if you had, say, 2.75, where would you do your graph bar? Well, you would make your graph bar a little bit closer to 3. It would be 3/4 of the way between 2 and 3, 2.75. Or if it was like 2.1, it would be just above 2 line. So you adjust the line based on your grid. You don't adjust the grid based on the numbers you have. Okay. Sometimes I see you guys changing things. Ben, you're missing 2 projects. You should pay attention. Okay. Any questions about the main parts of yesterday's assignment? So what we're doing today is you're continuing on that. All right. You guys are supposed to be graphing the pizza. Some people are done. Some people need a bit more time. So what we did was it's at the top here, sorry. Okay. So we did, what's your favorite pizza? Pepperoni, Hawaiian, barbecue, chicken, meat lovers. I think there's 26 people in the class. So you should have 26 results from your survey. If you weren't here yesterday, make it up. So you want to complete your tally chart. Then you want to draw a bar graph. Don't forget, find this page, please. Find this page, find this page, find this page, find this page, find this page. Okay, you want to write down how to make your scale. Okay. For your scale, remember, I just talked about it, but it's your top number divided by the number of bars and then round up. Write that down, write that down, write that down, write that down, write this down, write this down, write this down, write this down. Okay, at the very bottom. Write it down, Darian. Catch. Wait, so after you got your scale, then you can do your bar graph for your pizza type. Favorite pizza. Awesome, thanks. Favorite pizza. Stay here, Cassie. Okay. So I'm going to give you a minute to finish that up here, okay? If you're done, great. If you're not, work on it. You make up your tally. Don't go around and ask people, you suck because you didn't get it done yesterday. So just 26 results, make it up. Go for it. Go. So let's review the graph real quick here. A couple things I didn't talk about, which I think we should. Number one, between each one, first of all, there's a title. Okay, you got to have a title on your graph. You must have a title. You should use different colors than a legend, and I have my pencil crayons out for you to use right here. Okay. You should also, in between each bar, you should have a space. So you should have a space between your bar. Now, it doesn't have to be 3. Why would I choose 3? Because I hardly had anything to graph, so I want to spread it out. If you have 4 choices of pizza, maybe use 2 bars, maybe 1 bar. Look, you're trying to make a pretty picture, okay? Because you have 4 choices now, you might not make your bars for your types of pizzas 4 bars wide. Maybe it's only 3, maybe it's 2. I would definitely not make it 1. If you're making it 1, it's going to look funny. You won't get a good mark on it, okay? It's not a pretty design. So you got to be a bit of a designer, okay? Make sure you have everything labeled. Okay, pizza graph, go for it. Wait, eyes here, eyes here. Shh. You guys are messing up the scale a little bit because you're not doing it properly. All right? So what's your top number? If it's 6, you go 6 divided by 22. It'd be 0.27. Someone else had 10. 10 divided by 22, 0.45. Both of those, I would round 0.45. I would round that up to 0.5. That means if this is 0, this would be 0.5, this would be 1. 1.5, 2. 2.5, 3. 3.5, 4. That way your graph isn't just taking up the bottom portion of your grid, but it's using the entire grid. Okay, so for the pizza, you should all be using at least 0.5. If you're using 1, you'll be okay, but some people went up by 2s, and their grid was like this small. Like it barely took anything for the graph. The graph used hardly any of the grid. Okay, so you want to make sure it takes up over half of the grid. Any questions? Okay, 1 more minute to finish this up. Just go with what you have, and then we're going to move on to your next graph. Okay, so you guys finished off your graphs, which is great. We're going for your pizza. Please turn to this page right here, Stats and Probability Class Survey. You now are going to get information and do a survey question. Keep your survey question simple. So my survey question was, what is your favorite sport? And then I want to give you 4 to 6 choices. It can't be open-ended. So football, volleyball, rugby, soccer, 4 to 6 choices. Okay? You can have what's your favorite color, what's your favorite ice cream, what's your favorite pizza, what's your favorite clothing brand, what's your favorite subject, who's your favorite teacher? Of course, it's Mr. Barker. Lots of different questions. What's your favorite pet? What's your favorite mode of transportation? What's your favorite subject at school? Benson would be like computer science because you're so smart. Lots of different choices there. Keep it simple for your question. Then you're going to create a tally chart. Okay. So for mine, I had favorite sport. That was like my title. Then you have to have your tally. Come up with your 4 to 6 choices and have your frequency. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to do numbers 1 and number 2. Write down your question, make up a frequency table. Go. Write down your question, come up with a frequency table. Go. Wait, you should have your question. You should have your tally chart made. Now there is 26 people in the classroom, but here's the problem. You're all going to be moving around and you're going to forget who you asked. So if you get like 24 answers and you don't know who the other 2 are, make it up to get 26. Does that make sense? Once you've come up with, once you've asked 26 people, then you can do your frequency, and on the next page, you can do your graph. Okay? 26 people. Ask everyone. Go. Wait, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take your tally chart, and now that you've done your frequency, you're going to go and do your bar graph. Once you've done your bar graph for your survey, then you're working on 10.3, and yes, you do have to do number 2. Okay, working on patterns and series. So you're graphing your data, 10.3. Go. Eyes up here. So you should be at this section now. You should be almost done your charts or your graph. Some people have. So here you're looking for sequence, filling in the pattern of the next 3 numbers. This last one, F, is going to be a challenge. You might not get it. Do your best. Then 10.3, you're answering questions based on this graph. Good. Turn it over. Here, you're doing a horizontal. Eyes up here, eyes up here, eyes up here. You're doing a horizontal bar graph, which means your bars now go horizontal left to right. Okay? Don't forget a title. Don't forget a label. Don't forget a label. Lots of hints on how to help you. Okay? The first one's so cooked up, they even label this axis with the numbers, so you don't even need to come up with a scale. Here, please turn to this graph. Please turn to this graph. Please turn to this graph. This graph is a double bar graph. They're graphing the percent in the U.S. Whoops, let me erase that. The percent in the U.S. in blue, okay, and the percent in Canada in red. You'll notice Malik, their legend sucks, so you should make up your own legend with your colors at the back. Okay, do you see that? So this here is Lake Erie's number. 1 bar is the red, 1 bar is the blue. Then you should leave a space. S-P-A-C-E. Then you do the next Great Lake, blue-red, side-by-side touching. Then a space, blue-red, side-by-side touching. Space, blue-red. You see the pattern? Double bar graphs are different. The lake, both should be together, blue and red, then a space in between the lakes. Any questions? Most people will probably get to starting number 3 today. Okay? All right, pitter patter, finish off, go.